I'm being forced off the road by a cop. A friend of mine, Omar of Chicago Motor Cars, puts on this rally called the Ultimate Road Rally, and it's a little different than most rallies because he really likes kind of like this scavenger hunt, sort of real exciting, jumping from place to place to place, trying to pack a lot of things in a day. We'd go go-karting, there'd be a paintball challenge, and all these kind of things. So we would always take the twin-turbo Alpha 10 Audi R8. We have a customer and friend, Jordan, who had a brand new Huracan, and we're looking to twin turbo it in the future, and he really wanted to see what the Alpha twin turbo was like. So he asked, could we switch for this last leg? And normally I don't like driving other people's cars, but he's a friend and obviously a customer who wants to experience the twin turbo Alpha car. So I hand him the keys to the 6-speed Audi R8 V10 twin turbo Alpha 10, and I take his brand new Huracan. So I left my co-driver with Jordan, also my radar detector and all of my police countermeasures. And I quickly realized maybe why he wanted to test drive my car. Because his co-driver, well, he didn't bring one, so back then Omar would bring these beautiful 20-something-year-old girls that if you didn't have a co-driver, you would have this beautiful co-driver to ride with you. Well, this was not one of the normal girls. I think it was a friend of a friend. It was kind of a last-minute thing. It turned out she had been partying the night before and hadn't slept, and she proceeded to tell me about the hallucinogenic drugs that she likes to take and experience. And I'm a married man with two girls, and I'm just thinking, I don't believe I'm in this situation. But okay, it's one leg of the rally. We've got about 20 miles to go to the last stop of the rally. So how bad can it be? So we get on the highway and it's chaos. It's a Sunday afternoon. I mean, they're cutting and weaving, and it's not my car, so I'm trying to take it easy. But still, I'm getting up to 120, 30, 140 miles an hour. I've got this girl who has got the radio blasting and is changing the radio station every 5 seconds. I've got none of my police countermeasures. I'm just like, what have I got myself into? This is horrible. I can't wait for this to be over. A couple of the guys were going really fast, and we're going about 160 miles an hour and just blowing past people, racing. They were driving pretty recklessly. So the cops were out in force looking for us. And I am just over it. This girl is just, the radio is full volume. She's jumping from techno station to techno station, and oh, thank goodness, the exit. I had been following my friend Wayland. He was in his Alpha 7 GTR in front of me. He's a SCCA national championship driver with Porsche Cup. So I was in good company. I felt pretty safe. We were taking it pretty easy. But as I'm turning onto the exit, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm being forced off the road by a cop. And he's pointing me to pull over, and it's kind of like a roundabout. You kind of go around this wall, you can't really see, so he directs me over, and I pull over immediately. So he doesn't know what to do because there's a group of probably 6 or 7 of us, so he just points me over, I stop. So he keeps going, goes around this bend, and he goes after the other guys. I'm like, oh, wow, thank goodness. So I just sit there. And I sit there, and I sit there. I'm like, okay, there's no way he caught up to these guys. They're probably out on surface road somewhere. I'll get off of this road, and I'll go to the destination, and I'll be fine. Well, after waiting a couple minutes, I slowly creep up, around, and sure enough, at the top of the exit ramp, he's got my friend Wayland pulled over. I'm like, oh, well, sucks that it was Wayland, better than me. So as I go to pull around him, the cop shakes his head and points for me to pull over. Like, great. So I pull over, and he comes up to my door and asks, do you know why I pulled you over? And I always don't like to admit guilt, so I said, no, officer, I don't. And he's like, you guys were getting calls, you guys are speeding and stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know. I was following this guy. We just got off at this exit here, and all of a sudden you were there, and I pulled over. He's like, well, give me your license and registration. I'll be back. So, I handed him my license and registration, and I guess it really wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but in 2 months, I was going to make my first cannonball attempt on the 2904 event, which is kind of like a 24 Hours of Lemons meets the Cannonball junk cars going across the country. And clearly, now is not a time to get some sort of reckless ticket before I'm about to go careening across the country. I've got this girl next to me. She's adjusting her cleavage and taking selfies of herself in this Lamborghini, and with with the cop in the back, for her Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot. And I'm just thinking, what did I get myself into? If I had my countermeasures, if I had my co-driver looking out for me, I didn't see this cop coming at all because I've got techno music blasting in my ear, and I just wanted to get off the highway. I was so close. So the cop ends up coming back to the window, gave me a ticket for no front plate, not a big deal, and then improper lane usage. What is improper lane usage? I don't know. But it's not going to be good because clearly this cop is going to go in front of the judge and say what we were doing. But so we're talking to the guys there, and thankfully one of them had a really good lawyer. Contacted him on Monday, and he said this shouldn't be a problem. Clearly the officer did not see any of you guys actually doing anything. He was just very upset. So the court date came around. My lawyer went in, kind of pleaded the case that these police officers were basically pulling over everybody that was getting off that road with a fancy car and just ticketing them without even ever seeing them doing anything. So the judge ended up having a bit of a word with the officer, and thankfully I got the tickets thrown out.
As a luxury and exotic brand dealer, you know the challenge of putting the right price tag on perfection. Ritz Garage places you directly in touch with our qualified network of new and used dealers with no auction fees. Ritz Garage. Premium cars, premium dealers without premium fees.